Heard the ominous prediction on the air today that the world is going to end Saturday.
The
Oh.
What if the strange signs appearing around the world are not just coincidences, but warnings? In a short period of time, an unexpected doomsday message suddenly broke into a television broadcast. The sky over Israel was covered by swirling flocks of black crows. Mysterious streaks of light shot across the sky in Colorado. Glowing rings that looked like hidden gateways appeared. A blazing ball of energy raced through the night. Trumpet-like sounds echoed across the sky. Clouds formed into sacred shapes. The ground suddenly seemed to melt, and bright clouds opened up like the gates of heaven. Do you think all of this is simply random, or could it be a sign? And if this is only the beginning, what might be waiting ahead? Before we go deeper to search for the answer, leave a short prayer in the comments as a way to show your faith in God. And now, so you don't have to wait any longer, let's begin with 1. A mysterious message. One ordinary evening in Orange County, Southern California, suddenly turned into a moment of confusion when a television broadcast was unexpectedly interrupted by a mysterious apocalyptic message. In just a few seconds, thousands of families watching entertainment programs heard a chilling voice coming through their screens, leaving the room completely silent. That moment reminded many people that sometimes a single strange signal is enough to make the whole world stop and listen. The incident happened when the emergency alert system of major cable providers like Cox and Spectrum was suddenly interfered with, turning a normal TV program into a live broadcast nightmare. A distorted, deep voice echoed through television speakers, repeating warnings about extremely violent times that are coming, almost like an ancient prophecy had somehow passed through modern technology and reached into living rooms everywhere. Viewers panicked, calling the police, posting videos online, and social media exploded within minutes. Matthew 24:6-8 spoke about something like this long before television ever existed. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. Those ancient words echo across time, leading many to wonder whether sudden warnings like this are truly just coincidences. In the recording, the distorted voice continued speaking about global chaos and even hinted at a celestial object moving toward Earth. The audio lasted only a few minutes, but the fear it left behind lasted much longer. In that moment, the television was no longer just a device for entertainment. It became a doorway, delivering a warning that shook much of Southern California. The clip spread quickly online, and every replay sent chills down the spine of those who listened. 2 Timothy 3:1 clearly describes the setting of times like these. But understand this, that in the last days, perilous times will come. For many people, this verse feels like a reminder that unusual events in society sometimes reflect warnings written thousands of years ago. Experts later explained that the incident started at a Christian radio station in Santa Ana, where a malfunctioning broadcast system accidentally leaked an internal message into the emergency alert network. But even with a technical explanation, the uneasy feeling did not disappear easily. What confused many people was not just the broadcast error, but the content of the message, warnings that seemed to mirror the very images of the end times described in the Bible. Revelation 16:16 records a scene that makes many people pause and think, and they gathered them together to the place called in Hebrew, Armageddon. When reading those words, some people begin to look at strange events around them in a different way, as if history, technology, and prophecy might be crossing paths at a point we do not fully understand yet. Some say it was nothing more than a technical glitch, simply a broadcasting accident. But for those who heard that message that night, the memory remains clear. The warped voice, the eerie sound, and the feeling that something bigger had just knocked on the door of the modern world. Sometimes a brief event is enough to make people stop and think more deeply about the time they are living in. And if that mysterious message was only a passing accident, the story could end there. But if it was only the opening signal of larger signs slowly beginning to appear, what will happen when the real warnings finally begin to reveal themselves? 2. Hundreds of crows in chaos, gathering like a warning. In broad daylight in Israel, the sky suddenly darkened when hundreds of black crows unexpectedly arrived, swirling thickly above the ancient cities. People in Jerusalem and nearby areas looked up in shock as the sky seemed to be swallowed by constantly moving black wings. There was no storm coming, no sign of extreme weather, yet the scene still sent chills through many people, as if nature had just delivered a strange warning. Videos captured at the scene show that the crows were not flying loosely the way birds usually do. Instead, they gathered at one fixed point and spun in large circles, repeating the pattern for several minutes, almost like a strange ritual in the sky. Their rough, hoarse calls echoed through the old streets, creating an eerie atmosphere that was hard to explain. In that moment, you could almost feel what the people standing below felt, a quiet uneasiness spreading through the crowd as they realized this did not look like any flock of birds they had seen before. Bird researchers say that crows are highly intelligent and often gather in large groups, but the way they kept circling in repeated loops like a spiraling pattern left many observers confused. Some witnesses said the birds even flew low enough to nearly touch the flagpoles, and in one video that spread across the internet, a flag was pulled down as the dark wings spun around it. That image made many people feel as if they were seeing a strange symbol, some kind of sign nature was trying to send, though people could not fully understand it. In the history of faith, the image of crows has appeared many times as part of sacred stories. 1 Kings 17:4-6 mentions this moment. "You will drink from the brook, and I have directed the ravens to supply you with food there. The ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening." In that ancient story, the raven was not a symbol of chaos, but a messenger bringing provision and a reminder that nature can sometimes become a vessel for something greater. Some people believe the flock was simply reacting to weather patterns or a food source, but those who witnessed it in person said the feeling was very different from normal bird behavior. The crows held their formation for too long. Their spiraling pattern looked unusually precise, and the timing of their appearance reminded many people of old stories about signs and warnings. Psalm 147:9 speaks about this familiar bird in another way. He provides food for the animals and for the young ravens when they call. In many faith traditions, the cry of a raven is not just the sound of nature, but a reminder that every living creature exists within a larger order that people do not fully understand. When the last black wings finally scattered and the sky over Israel returned to normal, many people still stood quietly in the streets, trying to make sense of what they had just seen. It may have simply been a rare natural event, but it may also have been one of those moments that makes people pause and pay attention to the signals nature sometimes sends in mysterious ways. Ezekiel 14:21 speaks of moments when people must face strong warnings. "For this is what the Lord God says, how much worse will it be when I send my 4 severe judgments against Jerusalem, sword, famine, wild beasts, and plague, to cut off people and animals from it." When reading these words again, many people cannot help but wonder if sometimes even small signs in the sky can cause an entire city to stop and ask what might really be happening. And if that flock of crows was simply passing over the sky of Israel like any other group of birds, then the story could end there. But if nature sometimes uses strange scenes to draw human attention, then one question still remains. Were those crows simply flying across the sky that day? Or were they trying to warn about a much greater storm slowly forming? 3. Strange streaks of light racing across the sky. As sunset settled over the Rocky Mountains, a hiker in Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado suddenly looked up and saw strange streaks of light shooting across the sky. They did not fall straight down like meteors, and they did not move steadily like airplanes. Instead, they curved, gently twisted, and suddenly changed direction in midair. Just a few seconds later, the video was posted online, and you can imagine the sense of amazement spreading as millions of people replayed that strange moment. The scene happened while the sky was turning the deep orange-red color of sunset. In the quiet wilderness of the Colorado mountains, bright white-blue streaks suddenly appeared, stretching out like streams of living energy. They rushed forward at incredible speed, leaving behind soft, curved trails of light like glowing ribbons across the sky. No one there heard the sound of engines. There was no explosion. There was only light moving silently but powerfully, like an invisible presence gliding across the heavens. Luke 21:25-26 once spoke about images like this. There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. On the earth, nations will be in distress and confusion because of the roaring of the sea and the waves. People will faint from fear as they wait for what is coming upon the world, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. When many people read those ancient words again, they realized that the sky has long been seen as a great canvas where powerful signs may appear. Witnesses at the national park said they felt as if they were standing inside a science fiction movie. The lights did not simply travel in one direction. They seemed to change their own paths, bending and then darting off in another direction, like giant streams of electricity drawing lines across the sky. For a few brief moments, the Colorado sky looked like a moving painting, where light no longer followed the familiar rules of airplanes or satellites. Matthew 24:29 describes a powerful image. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Many people who watched the video mentioned this verse because the sight of falling and strangely moving lights in the sky reminded them of ancient warnings about disturbances in the universe. After the video spread online, some experts suggested the event might be connected to a rocket launch from the space company SpaceX. Sometimes rocket exhaust at heights of dozens of miles can reflect sunlight and create unusual shapes in the sky. However, what confused many people was the way the lights moved. They did not simply stretch into a straight line. They seemed almost alive, bending smoothly and shifting direction in unusual ways. Revelation 6:12 records a powerful scene of changes in the heavens. I watched as the Lamb opened the sixth seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun became dark like black cloth, and the whole moon turned red like blood. When people compare those words with the unusual lights appearing in the sky today, some feel as if the heavens are still telling stories that humanity has not fully understood. Even if a scientific explanation may exist, the sight of those bending streaks of light racing across the Colorado sky still sends a chill through many viewers. It reminds us that the universe is far greater than anything humanity can control, and sometimes a single moment in the sky is enough to make the whole world stop and think. And if those strange lights were only a rare effect of modern technology, then the story might end there. But if the sky is beginning to show signs that people still cannot fully explain, then in the deep darkness above Colorado, how many more secrets are still waiting to be revealed? 4. The mysterious gate opening in the night sky. A video spreading rapidly across social media shows a glowing object hanging in the night sky, releasing spiral streams of energy as if trying to open an invisible gate in space. No one knows where it came from, and no one knows when it disappeared. Yet just a few seconds of footage were enough to send chills through millions of viewers. Did we just witness a rare natural phenomenon, or was some kind of doorway in the sky quietly beginning to open? In the video, the object floats almost motionless in the darkness, but from its center, rings of swirling energy spread outward like a storm made of light. The color slowly shifts from deep blue to bright white, each spiral expanding as if space itself is being stretched in front of the viewer's eyes. The air around it seems to tremble slightly, leaving many people with the strange feeling that they were looking at something that does not belong to the world we know. Some people say it is only the light effect from a distant rocket launch, similar to the glowing spirals that have appeared before in places like the United Kingdom or China. But what made many viewers uneasy was the shape of the phenomenon. It looked almost exactly like a gate slowly opening, a circle of light not fully closed, as if something were trying to step through from the other side. If you had been standing under that sky at that moment, what do you think you would have believed you were seeing? The Bible once described visions of a door in heaven in a way that still makes many people today stop and think. In Revelation 4:1, it says, "After this I looked, and behold, a door standing open in heaven. And the first voice I heard speaking to me like a trumpet said, 'Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this.'" The image of a door opening in heaven, thousands of years ago, now makes some people wonder if what cameras capture today could really be just coincidence. Other ancient descriptions also speak about scenes of light and energy appearing in the sky. Ezekiel 1-4 says, "I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud with flashing fire, and a bright light around it. And in the middle of the fire was something that looked like glowing metal." When many people watched this video, they said the feeling was almost the same as looking at an ancient vision being replayed in the age of modern technology. Even in visions of the night, the Bible mentions figures appearing among the clouds of heaven. Daniel 7:13 says, "I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven." Words like these have led many people to believe that the sky is not only an endless space, but also a place where things beyond human imagination may sometimes appear. Of course, skeptics quickly argue that it is only an optical effect, a CGI creation, or simply a trace of modern technology. But the video, spreading with millions of views, along with witnesses who say they saw a similar sight with their own eyes, leaves one question still hanging in the air. Why does it look so much like a gate of heaven? Even if a scientific explanation appears in the future, the image still leads many people to think about a deeper possibility. Perhaps the sky is not only the place where stars move across the night, but also a place where the doors of something sacred may quietly open from time to time, reminding us that this world is far greater than what we can see. And if that video truly shows a gate that was not fully opened, then the more unsettling question may be this: if one day it opens completely, what might step through from the other side? 5. A strange glowing sphere floats and moves as if it has a mind of its own. Late one quiet night in a parking lot in Nashville, a man suddenly saw a bright sphere of energy shoot across the wet ground after a rain. It glowed intensely, like a living flame moving through the darkness. Within seconds, several cars around the lot began sounding their alarms at the same time. Lights flashed wildly, and the frightened man quickly jumped into his car and drove away. If you had been standing in that parking lot at that moment, would you stay and watch or run right away? What the security camera recorded gave many people chills. The glowing sphere hovered low above the ground, vibrating like a living ball of energy. Then it suddenly rushed forward at incredible speed, gliding past rows of parked cars. Its light reflected on the puddles across the concrete, forming strange, warped circles of light, almost as if the air itself was being bent by the mysterious energy surrounding it. The most unsettling part was the way it moved. Instead of traveling in a straight line like lightning or a normal natural event, the sphere kept changing direction. Suddenly, it would move forward and then turn back again, almost as if it were examining the space around it. Each time it passed close to the cars, alarms started blaring and headlights flashed wildly, as if the electrical systems were being disturbed by an unseen source of power. Some observers believe it could be ball lightning, a very rare phenomenon sometimes reported in wet conditions after rain. But many people who watched the footage found it difficult to explain the way the sphere seemed almost aware, moving as if it were searching for something. Its glow looked like a torch, burning brightly in the night, reminding some viewers of ancient descriptions of moving fire seen in visions. In Ezekiel 1:13-14, it says, "The appearance of the living creatures was like burning coals of fire, like the appearance of torches moving back and forth among the living creatures. The fire was bright, and lightning flashed from it. The creatures sped back and forth like flashes of lightning." The image of fire moving as fast as lightning in that vision makes some people wonder whether descriptions written thousands of years ago could be appearing today as mysterious phenomena. The Bible also speaks of supernatural movement connected with fire. In 2 Kings 2:11, it says, "As they were walking along and talking together, suddenly a chariot of fire and horses of fire appeared and separated them. And Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind." Images of fire moving through the sky have long appeared in sacred stories, often seen as a symbol of power beyond human understanding. Another passage reminds people of light guiding the way in darkness. Exodus 13:21 says, "The Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to guide them on the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so they could travel by day or night." In these ancient accounts, fire was not only a natural element, but also a sign of unseen forces at work in the human world. Of course, skeptics believe the video may simply show a rare case of ball lightning, or possibly even a digitally edited clip. But the sound of multiple car alarms going off at the same time, along with the strange electrical disturbances seen in the parking lot, makes many people think this was more than just a simple visual effect. Whatever the final explanation may be, the moment that glowing sphere raced through the night left behind a strange and uneasy feeling. It might only be an extremely rare natural event, or it might be a reminder that unseen forces could be active around us, forces that people still do not fully understand. The man managed to leave the parking lot safely that night, but the question that still gives many people chills remains. If that sphere of energy returns on another night, who will be the one standing there to face it? 6. A mysterious sound like a trumpet echoing across the sky. In the quiet night sky over Australia, a strange sound suddenly rose from the endless darkness above. It rolled out in long, deep echoes, almost like the blast of a giant trumpet sounding down from heaven. No one could see where it was coming from, yet the sound spread across the sky, carrying over the coastal areas and filling the air with a heavy, hard-to-explain feeling. Everyone who heard it seemed to share the same thought. Something was trying to send a message from far above. The sound did not resemble any familiar noise from airplanes, ships, or industrial activity. It came in long, deep waves, sometimes vibrating like a massive piece of metal stretched across the sky. In the videos that captured the moment, the sky looked completely dark and still, yet the echo continued to spread, as if the entire atmosphere were resonating with an unseen source. Along the Australian coast, many residents said the sound lasted for several minutes before slowly fading away, leaving behind an eerie silence. In that moment, anyone standing beneath the sky could feel a strange chill running down their spine, almost like the feeling we get when we suddenly realize we are hearing something that does not belong to the familiar world around us. What makes this even more striking is that the phenomenon has not appeared in just one place. Similar sounds, often called Heavenly trumpets, or the hum, have been reported in many parts of the world, from the frozen lands of Siberia to distant California. These deep echoes from the sky appear and disappear without warning, leaving both scientists and people of faith searching for answers. In Revelation 8:6-7, it is written, "Then the 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets prepared to sound them. The first angel sounded his trumpet, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was hurled down upon the earth. A third of the earth was burned up. A third of the trees were burned up." End quote. And all the green grass was burned up. These ancient descriptions of trumpets sounding from the heavens make many people today shiver when they hear these strange echoes moving through the atmosphere. The Bible also speaks of another trumpet connected to a powerful moment in human history. In 1 Thessalonians 4:16 it says, "For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet call of God." Words like these have led some people to believe that the trumpets mentioned in the Bible may not only be symbols, but signs pointing to great changes in the world. Revelation 11:15 records another powerful vision. "The 7th angel sounded his trumpet, and there were loud voices in heaven saying, 'The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Christ, and he will reign forever and ever.'" The images of trumpets echoing across the heavens in these prophecies naturally remind many people of the mysterious sounds now being reported around the planet. Of course, scientists offer several explanations. Some believe the sounds may be a type of skyquake, a low-frequency noise produced by movements in the ocean or shifts in the atmosphere. Others suggest they could be distant echoes from industrial activity far away. Yet what confuses many researchers is how often these sounds appear across different parts of the world, along with thousands of witnesses who have recorded and shared similar experiences. For many people of faith, these sounds feel less like a simple mystery and more like a reminder. A sound that makes us pause in the middle of our busy lives, lift our eyes toward the sky, and wonder whether something is trying to wake the world from its deep indifference. It may simply be a natural phenomenon that science is still studying, but it may also be a quiet call, echoing across the vast sky, reminding humanity that there are things far beyond our understanding. And as these sounds continue to be reported more frequently in different parts of the world, one question slowly begins to form in many minds. If these truly are trumpet blasts echoing from the sky, what will the final trumpet bring with it? 7. A strange opening in the night sky. Under the quiet night sky in the mountains of Colombia, a perfect circle of light suddenly appeared in the endless darkness, floating as if a doorway had opened out of nowhere. Its light did not flicker like a star, and it did not move like an airplane. Instead, it stayed strangely still, shining brightly like a perfect ring in the dark. Anyone who witnessed that moment felt as if they were seeing something beyond the familiar rules of the world. This event was recorded at Peña de Huayca, a mountain area near the town of Tabio in Colombia, a place that has long been known among UFO researchers as a hotspot for strange lights in the sky. During a peaceful night of stargazing, the man holding the camera suddenly noticed the glowing ring hanging far out near the horizon. It looked like a shining gateway opening in deep space. When seeing a scene like that, you can almost imagine standing under that same sky, quietly watching a mysterious light existing in a place the human mind struggles to explain. The ring appeared almost perfectly shaped. Its outer edge glowed and shimmered like molten metal, while the center was slightly darker, giving the feeling of an opening that might lead somewhere else. The man in the video stood watching it for quite a while, trying to adjust his camera to see more clearly, but the distance was too great for him to identify exactly what was hanging in the sky. Still, the calm and steady nature of the glowing ring made many people feel that it did not look like any normal flying object. For many years, people living around Peña de Huayca have told stories about something they call the door to infinity. According to old local traditions, the sky above this mountain sometimes shows strange circular lights, like invisible gateways that open for a short moment and then disappear. For a long time, these stories were treated as simple folklore, until modern cameras began capturing images that made many people think again. Long ago, the Bible also spoke about the image of a door opening in heaven. Revelation 4:1 says, "After this I looked, and there before me was a door standing open in heaven. And the voice I had first heard speaking to me like a trumpet said, 'Come up here.'" 8. The image of Jesus in the clouds. So moving it takes your breath away. Over the sky of Naga City in the Philippines, right after a religious ceremony had ended, a strange cloud suddenly appeared and slowly changed into a shape that left thousands of people standing below in silence. The image looked like a human figure with raised arms surrounded by a gentle glow like a halo, hanging quietly in the calm afternoon sky. In that moment, many people felt as if nature itself was sending a message of comfort. And perhaps if you had seen that sight, you might have felt the same deep sense of peace that is hard to explain. The event happened near Basilica Minore of Our Lady of Peñafrancia, where a large gathering of believers had just finished a religious service. As people began leaving the church area, someone looked up and noticed the unusual shape of the cloud in the sky. Within minutes, hundreds of phones were lifted to capture the moment, and the atmosphere around them became strangely quiet, as if everyone was witnessing something far beyond an ordinary cloud. At first, the cloud was simply a soft white mass, drifting slowly across a pale blue sky. But then its edges slowly shifted, forming the shape of what looked like a standing human figure, with an arm raised upward as if giving a blessing. What surprised many people even more was the sunlight behind the cloud, which created a faint circle of light around the head, making it look like a sacred halo. Some people believe this is simply a case of pareidolia, the tendency of the human brain to recognize familiar shapes within random patterns found in nature. However, for those who were there, the moment seemed to carry a deeper meaning. The appearance of this special cloud happened immediately after a prayer service, leading many to believe it was a sign of a divine presence. For a long time, the Bible has connected clouds with the presence of God. In Matthew 17:5, it says, "While he was still speaking, a bright cloud covered them, and a voice from the cloud said, 'This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him.'" The image of a bright cloud covering people and carrying a sacred message reminds many of scenes described thousands of years ago. Another passage in the Bible also speaks about the presence of the Lord within the clouds. Acts 1-9 says, "After he said this, he was taken up before their very eyes, and a cloud hid him from their sight." In many visions, clouds are not just part of nature, but also a symbol of the connection between heaven and earth, between humanity and the divine. Even in ancient songs of praise, clouds are mentioned as part of God's presence. Psalm 97:2 says, "Clouds and thick darkness surround him. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne." Words like these lead many people to feel that the sky is not just empty space, but sometimes a place where sacred signs appear. Of course, skeptics say it was simply a random cloud shape combined with sunlight. But for those who witnessed the sight with their own eyes, the feeling was not the same as seeing an ordinary cloud. It was a sense of peace, emotion, and hope spreading quietly through the crowd. Science may one day explain it as nothing more than a coincidence of wind and light. Yet for many people, that moment felt like a gentle reminder that in a world full of uncertainty, there are still signs that make us pause, look up, and remember that we are not alone. Eventually, the cloud slowly faded away with the wind, and the sky returned to normal as if nothing had ever happened. But for those who saw it, the image remains deeply in their memory, like a quiet message. And the real question that remains is not where that cloud came from, but this: if it truly was a message of comfort from heaven, are we ready to listen and receive it? 9. The ground shakes, rolling like water. At a construction site in Brazil, the ground suddenly began to tremble and ripple like the surface of the ocean, leaving the people who witnessed it frozen in place for a few seconds. There was no storm, and no major earthquake had been reported beforehand, yet the solid surface of the earth suddenly moved like a living liquid, breathing beneath human feet. When people saw the scene, many could not help but wonder whether the very ground we always trust to be firm is truly as stable as we believe. The event happened while an excavator operator was driving a machine weighing tens of thousands of pounds into an area of wet ground after several days of heavy rain. At first, everything seemed completely normal, but only a few seconds later, the ground in front of the machine's wheels began to ripple in strange waves. The soft soil shook in a steady rhythm, rising and falling as if the earth itself were breathing. In the video recorded at the site, the surface of the ground was not just shaking slightly, it was actually moving like liquid. Waves spread out around the excavator's wheels, and the massive machine slowly began sinking into the mud that was shifting beneath it. The operator noticed something was wrong in an instant, quickly jumped out of the cab, and ran away from the area before the ground could swallow the machine. Geologists call this phenomenon soil liquefaction, when soil becomes saturated with water, loses its strength, and temporarily turns into a loose, muddy mixture. This has been recorded in many places around the world, from Indonesia to coastal areas of the United States, especially after heavy rain or strong ground vibrations. Still, when people see solid ground turn into moving waves with their own eyes, many feel a chill when they realize the unpredictable power of the earth. Long ago, the Bible warned about the fragile foundations that people sometimes trust. In Matthew 7:26-27 it says, "And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash." The image of a house built on unstable ground becomes a strong warning about what happens when the foundation is not secure. The shaking of the earth is also mentioned in other parts of the Bible as a sign connected to important moments in human history. Psalm 46:2-3 says, "Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging." These words describe a world where even nature itself can move with great force, reminding people of a power greater than humanity. Another vision in Revelation 16:18 even describes shaking unlike anything seen before. Then there came flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, and a severe earthquake. No earthquake like it has ever occurred since mankind has been on earth. Images of the ground shaking in these prophecies make many people reflect when they see unusual geological events happening in the modern world. Of course, scientists explain that what happened in Brazil was simply the result of groundwater building up beneath soft soil, reducing the friction between soil particles. When heavy weight, such as an excavator, moves across the surface, the pressure causes the soil to lose stability and temporarily behave like liquid. Yet even with a clear scientific explanation, the sight of the ground rippling like the ocean still makes many people feel just how fragile the surface beneath their feet can be. Perhaps the most unsettling thing is not that the ground can turn to liquid for a few minutes, but the reminder it gives us that things we believe to be solid in life can suddenly change. Stable ground can shift, and what we think is certain may become fragile under the right conditions. Eventually, the ground at the construction site slowly settled again. The waves disappeared, and the surface looked as if nothing had ever happened. But the people who witnessed the moment understood that they had just seen the hidden power of the earth, a power that can transform everything in only a few seconds. And if one day the ground beneath our feet were to shake again, not just at a small construction site, but on a much larger scale, the question many people might begin to ask is this: would the foundation we are standing on truly be strong enough to hold us firm? 10. a rainbow from heaven. In the tropical sky over Costa Rica after a rainstorm, a strange cloud suddenly opened like a glowing gate, spreading brilliant colors that left those who saw it standing still in amazement. Light from inside the cloud spread outward, almost as if the sky itself were revealing something beyond the world we know. And when you see a scene like that, you can almost feel that rare moment when nature makes people pause and think about something greater than themselves. The event was recorded by a traveler walking through the rainforest after a heavy rain. As the sky slowly cleared, he suddenly noticed a patch of cloud above him, shining in an unusual way. At the center of the cloud was an opening that looked like a doorway, filled with soft colors of blue, yellow, and pale pink like a rainbow. The surrounding clouds curled around it in a gentle swirl, making the whole scene look like a door opening in the sky. This rare phenomenon is called cloud iridescence. It happens when sunlight bends through tiny ice crystals or very small water droplets inside clouds. But the perfect mix of light, the round opening, and the swirling clouds around it made many people feel the scene looked more like a gate in heaven than a simple weather event. In the video, light from the center of the cloud spreads out softly but brightly, as if a hidden source of light is shining behind the curtain of clouds. Some local residents in Costa Rica say they have seen similar clouds before in the area of Escazú, where glowing clouds sometimes appear after tropical rainstorms. But even for people who are used to the beauty of tropical skies, that moment still felt special, almost like nature was painting a picture with a deeper meaning. In the Bible, clouds are not only natural events, they are often described as signs connected to heaven. Exodus 13:21-22 says, "The Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so they could travel by day or night." Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people. The image of a cloud leading the way in this ancient story makes some people feel that when they see a shining cloud in the sky, they are looking at a symbol they have read about in the pages of Scripture. Another passage in Acts 1:9-11 also mentions clouds during a sacred moment. After he said this, he was taken up before their very eyes, and a cloud hid him from their sight. They were looking intently up into the sky as he was going, when suddenly 2 men dressed in white stood beside them. "Men of Galilee," they said, "why do you stand here, looking into the sky?" Words like these lead some people to believe that clouds are not only part of the atmosphere, but also a symbol of the connection between earth and heaven. Even in ancient songs, clouds are described as part of divine presence. Psalm 104:3 says, "He lays the beams of his chambers on the waters. He makes the clouds his chariot and rides on the wings of the wind." These images describe a universe where the sky is not just empty space, but a place filled with signs that make people think about a power greater than themselves. Of course, scientists can explain the event in Costa Rica through the laws of light in the atmosphere. But for many who saw it, the feeling it created was not just scientific curiosity. It was also deep wonder at the beauty of nature, a beauty that makes people feel small, yet somehow connected to something far greater. The bright cloud slowly faded as the sunlight changed, leaving a clear blue sky as if nothing had happened. But for those who saw it, that moment became an unforgettable memory, a brief time when the sky seemed to open and remind us that this world still holds many mysteries. And when the journey of these strange phenomena finally comes to an end, one question still echoes in many minds. If the sky sometimes sends signs like this, then the next time it appears, will we be aware enough to recognize it and understand the message being sent down? We have just gone through an astonishing journey together, looking at 10 strange phenomena that have appeared in different parts of the world. From flocks of black crows swirling in the sky, mysterious streaks of light shooting across the heavens, to unusual gates of light opening in the middle of the night. We have seen glowing spheres of energy moving, almost like living creatures, heard trumpet-like sounds echoing from the sky, witnessed ring-shaped lights that looked like a doorway in Colombia, clouds forming sacred shapes, the ground shaking like a restless ocean, and finally, those glowing clouds that looked like a pillar guiding the way. All of these events, whether science can explain them or they remain a mystery, make us pause and think about a much bigger picture. The Bible, written thousands of years ago, speaks many times about signs in the heavens and on the earth as reminders to humanity. In Luke 21:25, it says, "There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, on the earth," end of quote. On the earth. Nations will be in distress and confusion at the roaring of the sea and the waves. Words like these make many people today wonder whether the things we have just seen are simply coincidences or gentle warnings calling people to wake up and think again about the path they are walking. But the message of the Bible is not only a warning, it is also an invitation. An invitation for each of us to return to faith, to search for peace through prayer, and to place our trust in the one who is greater than every storm in this world. In 2 Chronicles 7:14 it says, "If my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal their land." That is a promise of hope, even in the most uncertain times. So, if the stories and events we shared today made you stop and think, take a quiet moment to pause and pray. You can leave a short prayer or your thoughts in the comments below so we can share our faith and encourage one another on this spiritual journey. Sometimes even one sincere prayer can bring light, both to ourselves and to someone else who reads it. If these messages spoke to your heart, please help spread them by pressing like, sharing this video with the people you care about, and subscribing to the channel so you will not miss any future stories or signs in the videos ahead. Your one share could help someone else pause, reflect, and find hope during difficult times. Thank you for spending your time following this journey from beginning to end. We are truly grateful that you were here, listening, reflecting, and exploring the mysterious signs around our world together. We pray that you and your family will always be protected, live in peace, and be guided on the path of light. May the grace and peace of the Lord be with you today and always. Amen. What is really happening in the skies of this world? In a very short time lately, a series of strange events has appeared one after another, leaving many people uneasy. Bright, glowing spheres hanging in the air, huge schools of fish rushing onto the shore, volcanoes roaring and shooting fire, mysterious objects passing near airplanes, a dark shape appearing during a solar eclipse, streaks of fire tearing across the sky, burning rings of cloud, strange lights racing through the night, glowing spheres hovering above the ocean, and even a perfectly round cloud standing still in the sky. Everything seems to be happening all at once. Many people feel a deep sense of concern when they look back at this chain of events. Are they simply coincidences, or could they be signs of something greater being sent down? Have you ever wondered why these events keep appearing one after another like this? Do you think they are normal? Or could they be warnings the world is choosing to ignore? And when all of them are placed together, the real picture behind them may cause many people to stop and think again. Before we go deeper into each shocking truth, leave a short prayer in the comments section as a way to show your faith and tell the Lord that you still believe in Him. Amen. And now, so you don't have to wait any longer, we will begin with 1. A strange circular light in the sky over Sarasota, Florida. It burst into view over the Florida dawn. A giant blue sphere of light suddenly hung in the sky above Sarasota, cutting across the fading night and leaving the coastal city in stunned silence. For a moment, everything seemed to pause. Cars slowed down, phones were raised into the air, and if we had been standing there, we probably would have done the same, looking up at the sky with a mix of wonder and confusion at a sight unlike anything we had ever seen. Sarasota is usually a quiet city in the state of Florida, where about 57,000 residents are used to gentle mornings along white sandy beaches. But that morning, the familiar view suddenly turned into a strange stage in the sky. While the sun was still hidden below the horizon, a blue glow appeared, spreading out like a glowing crack in the atmosphere and lighting up the horizon with an almost otherworldly shine. People who saw it said the object looked almost perfectly round, like a massive sphere hanging in the air. Some estimates suggested it could have been nearly 1,000 feet wide, large enough to cover a portion of the sky before sunrise. What made it even stranger was that it did not streak across the sky like a meteor, and it did not burn like an explosion. It simply hovered slowly, giving off a soft blue light that was still strong enough to illuminate the clouds high above. Several videos showed the light spreading across the sky and reflecting off icy clouds in the upper atmosphere, what meteorologists call noctilucent clouds. These thin clouds usually reflect sunlight when the sun is still below the horizon, making the sky glow as if a doorway has quietly opened in the heavens. That image alone made many people think about ancient words that once spoke of signs appearing in the sky. In Luke 21:25, the Bible says, "There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and on the earth nations will be in distress, confused by the roaring of the sea and the waves." Watching the videos of that glowing sphere, some people felt those ancient words suddenly seemed closer than ever, as if a piece of the distant past had quietly reached into the present. Of course, not everyone saw the event the same way. On social media, thousands of comments appeared within hours. Some believed it was something completely unknown, while others quickly offered a more familiar explanation. It might simply have been the effect of a SpaceX rocket launch from Cape Canaveral, about 150 miles from Sarasota. According to this idea, when a rocket climbs to high altitude before sunrise, its exhaust can be lit by sunlight coming from below the horizon, creating strange glowing shapes in the sky. This has happened before. But many observers raised another question. If it was only rocket exhaust, why did the shape look almost perfectly round? And why did the blue light spread in such an unusual way? As the debate continued, another passage from the Bible was often mentioned. Matthew 24:30 says, "Then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and all the tribes of the earth will mourn when they see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." For some people, these words are not a conclusion, but more like an ancient hint that the sky can sometimes carry messages that are not easy to understand. Whatever the explanation may be, the moment that blue sphere hovered over Sarasota made thousands of people stop and look up. In Revelation 6:12, it says, "The sun became black like sackcloth, and the whole moon became like blood." Those images were written thousands of years ago. Yet whenever something unusual appears in the sky, many people remember them as pieces of a much larger story that still feels unfinished. And if that glowing sphere was only the beginning, the real question may lie ahead. Because after that event, the skies in other parts of the world also began showing things that made people stop, look up, and wonder where this strange chain of signs might be leading. 2. A stream of fish washing ashore in Barangay Tagilon, Dapitan City, Zamboanga del Norte, Philippines. Shock struck in the middle of the night. Thousands, then millions of sardines suddenly rushed toward the shoreline like a silver rain from the ocean, turning the small beach in Barangay Tagilon into a scene where people could only say, "Thank God." In just a few minutes, a quiet beach turned into a busy place, with sacks, plastic buckets, and hurried hands picking up shining fish under the red glow of the lunar eclipse. Barangay Tagilon is a small fishing village in Dapitan City, where about 5,000 people mainly make their living from the sea. That night, as the lunar eclipse darkened the sky and the moon turned deep red, the surface of the ocean suddenly began moving in a strange way. From offshore, waves of sardines, known locally as tamban, started drifting toward the shore, so thick that the water almost looked like it had no waves at all. Along a stretch of beach nearly 2 miles long, the fish covered the shore like a giant silver blanket. Under the red moonlight, their bodies reflected light in strange, sparkling streaks, making the whole beach look as if it were glowing. There was no storm, no sign of pollution, no wild weather, only a massive stream of fish washing ashore as if the ocean had suddenly opened a hidden store of food. In that moment, many villagers stood still for a few seconds before they began gathering the fish. And if we had been there, we probably would have looked at the scene with the same feeling of surprise and gratitude. For communities that live by the sea, a stream of fish like this is not just an unusual sight. It is food, it is hope, and sometimes it reminds people of old stories about provision from heaven. In Exodus 16:13-14, the Bible tells about a similar moment when the people of Israel were wandering in the desert. In the evening, quail came and covered the camp, and in the morning dew lay all around the camp. When the dew was gone, thin flakes like frost on the ground appeared on the desert floor. For many believers, these words are a reminder that in the hardest moments, food sometimes appears in ways no one expects. The scene in Tagilon also reminds some people of another miracle. In Matthew 14:19-21, the Bible says, "He told the people to sit down on the grass. Then he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, looked up to heaven, gave thanks, and broke the bread. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 baskets full of leftover pieces." Stories like this have long been a symbol of unexpected provision. When help comes at the very moment people need it most, some scientists say the wave of fish may be connected to strong tides or changes in light during the lunar eclipse, causing the schools of fish to move closer to shore. Similar events have also happened in this region a few years ago. But even with scientific explanations, many local people still see the event in another way. They see it as a gift. In John 21:6, another familiar story appears. He said, "Throw your net on the right side of the boat, and you will find some." When they did, they caught so many fish that they were not able to pull the net in. When believers hear these words again, many feel a warm and familiar feeling, as if those ancient stories are still echoing somewhere across the ocean today. For many people, the stream of fish in Tagilon is more than just a natural event. It feels like a quiet reminder that the miracles once told in the Bible are not always far away. Sometimes they appear in very ordinary moments, on a small beach, in a quiet fishing village, as an entire community bends down to gather shining fish under the moonlight. But if the sea can suddenly offer a gift like this, the next thought also makes many people wonder, because the ocean does not only give, sometimes it can turn powerful and fierce. And in the waters around the Philippines, strange things may not be finished yet. 3. Volcanic eruption in Mexico. The sky over Mexico suddenly turned deep red as the volcano Popocatepetl erupted violently, sending a massive column of ash straight into the sky like a giant torch in the night. Explosions thundered from deep inside the earth, shaking the entire region, while glowing lava flashed like fire rising from the depths of hell. As these images spread around the world, many people could not help but wonder, is this simply a natural event or something more serious? Popocatepetl is one of the most active volcanoes in North America. It stands about 17,800 feet tall and lies close to 2 major cities, Puebla and Mexico City. More than 25 million people live in areas that could be directly affected if a major eruption happens. But what makes many people uneasy is not only its location, but the increasing intensity of its recent eruptions. During this eruption, ash and hot gas were pushed more than 20,000 feet into the air, forming huge black columns of smoke twisting across the sky. Red lava flowed down the slopes of the mountain, glowing brightly in the darkness like rivers of living fire. The ground shook in waves, and nearby towns were forced to evacuate quickly. From a distance, the entire mountain looked like a giant furnace with its mouth wide open. The scene reminds many people of an image mentioned in the Bible. Revelation 8:8 says, "The second angel sounded his trumpet, and something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea, and a third of the sea became blood." The image of a burning mountain has always made people think of great events that humanity may not fully understand. Scientists quickly offered their explanation. According to them, Popocatepetl has been active continuously since 1994, and throughout history, it has had more than 15 major eruptions. They believe rising magma pressure beneath the Earth, along with the movement of tectonic plates, is causing the volcano to erupt again and again. In other words, this is simply normal geological activity of the Earth. But for many people, the timing feels strangely meaningful. As natural disasters, earthquakes, storms, and volcanoes appear more and more often around the world, some have begun to look again at ancient warnings. Isaiah 29:6 says, "You will be visited by the Lord of hosts with thunder, with earthquake, with great noise, with storm and tempest, and with the flame of devouring fire." Those words sound like an echo from the past, reminding humanity that nature is sometimes more than just physical force. In the history of the Bible, fire, smoke, and trembling ground often appear during important moments. Another verse in Amos 4:11 also makes many people think, "I overthrew some of you, as God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, yet you did not return to me," says the Lord. It is not only a story of the past, but also a reminder that people often see disasters, yet forget to think about the meaning behind them. As the mountain Popocatepetl continues to roar and send massive columns of ash into the sky, many people are beginning to ask more serious questions. Is this simply a familiar geological cycle, or a warning the world is still ignoring? And if one volcano has awakened in such a violent way, what will happen if others across the planet begin to answer as well? Mexico is trembling before the fire of Popocatepetl, but the larger question remains, is this only the beginning? 4. A strange, extremely long object floating in the sky. In the clear blue sky, a very long object suddenly appeared right outside the window of a commercial flight, drifting quietly among the clouds as if it did not belong to this world. It did not look like an airplane, not like a blimp, and certainly not like any flying machine people are familiar with. When the video was shared online, many viewers were startled and asked themselves, if you saw something like that right outside your plane window, what would you think it was? According to the footage, the object looked like a long cylinder, about 300 feet in length, floating only a few hundred yards away from the aircraft. What confused the witnesses most was that it had no wings, no propellers, no engines, and made no sound at all. It simply drifted alongside the plane for a few moments, moving smoothly as if gliding through the air, before slowly disappearing into the clouds ahead. Passengers sitting near the windows soon began whispering and pointing when several of them noticed the object at the same time. A few people tried to record video, while others simply stood there, frozen, watching it move past. No one could explain what they were seeing, and the flight crew made no announcement during the entire time the object appeared. The image of a strange object in the sky reminded some people of ancient descriptions found in the Bible. Ezekiel 1-4 says, "I looked, and I saw a windstorm coming out of the north, a great cloud with flashing fire and bright light all around it. In the center of the fire was something glowing, like hot metal. For centuries, this passage has made readers wonder about unusual sights that appear in the heavens. After the video began spreading online, social media quickly filled with many different theories. Some people believed it might be a secret military test aircraft. Others thought it could simply be a visual illusion caused by the camera angle or by a distant object moving against the clouds. Another group leaned toward an atmospheric explanation, suggesting that light and water vapor can sometimes create strange shapes in the sky. However, many people argued that the object in the video moved too steadily and had a shape too clear to be just a natural effect. While the debate continued, some people looked at the event in a more symbolic way. Matthew 24-30 says, "Then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn. And they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with great power and glory." For those who hold to faith, the sky has always been connected with special signs. Another passage in Revelation 12-3 also speaks of an image appearing in the sky. Then another sign appeared in heaven, a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns on its heads. In the symbolic language of the Bible, the heavens sometimes become the place where signs appear before major events unfold. Whether viewed through science, technology, or faith, the appearance of a long floating object beside a passenger plane still leaves a large question. Until now, no official report has clearly explained where it came from, and the video continues to be shared, analyzed, and debated around the world. If that object truly appeared for only a few minutes and then vanished, the story may not really be finished. Because when something unusual shows up in the vast sky above, the biggest question is not only what people saw, but whether it might be the first sign of other things still hidden beyond the clouds. 5. A flying object in the clouds over Arlington, Texas. A dark shape moved across the sky, just as the sun disappeared behind the darkness of the eclipse. Was it only a coincidence, or something people do not fully understand yet? In Arlington, Texas, while thousands of people were looking up to watch a rare moment in the sky, a huge shadow suddenly appeared against the darkening sky. It passed so quickly that many only caught a glimpse of a long black shape sliding across, but it was enough to send a chill through the crowd. Arlington is a large city in the state of Texas, with more than 400,000 residents, and on that day, it became one of the busiest places in America to watch the eclipse. Parks, parking lots, and even stadiums were packed with people waiting for the moment when the sun would be completely covered. But as the sky fell into the strange darkness of the eclipse, something even more unusual happened. In a video that later spread online, a dark object with a vague shape appeared against the sky. Many people estimated it was nearly 500 feet long, moving smoothly through the dark sky like a living shadow. It had no wings, made no sound, and left behind no trail of smoke or light. Just a few seconds later, it disappeared into the clouds in the distance, as if it had never been there. When people watched the video again, many felt a strange and hard-to-explain feeling. Some said the shape looked like a creature gliding through the air, while others believed it was only a strange shadow caused by the light of the eclipse. But if you had been standing in that crowd that day and saw a huge dark shadow flying across the dark sky, what would you have thought it was? In the Bible, the darkening of the sun is often connected with special signs. Joel 2:31 says, "The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes." For many people who believe the Bible, moments like a solar eclipse often make them think about signs that were spoken of thousands of years ago. After the video spread widely, scientists and sky watchers quickly offered different explanations. Some said it might simply have been the shadow of an airplane passing over the area at the exact time of the eclipse. Others believed it could have been a drone or an object flying close to the camera, making it appear much larger in the video than it really was. However, many people argued that the speed and the way the object moved did not look like any normal airplane or drone. They believed the dark shape appeared too perfectly at the moment the sky grew dark, creating the feeling that it showed up at exactly the right time. In Luke 21:25, another passage also speaks about unusual things in the sky. There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. And on the earth, nations will be in distress and confusion because of the roaring of the sea and the waves. These words have long made many people believe that events in the heavens may sometimes carry deeper meaning than what our eyes can see. Revelation 6:12 also says, "I looked when the Lamb opened the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake. The sun became black like sackcloth, and the whole moon became like blood." In the Bible, images of darkness in the sky often appear together with warnings about important moments in human history. Whether explained by science or viewed from a spiritual point of view, the event in Arlington still leaves a question without a clear answer. A huge dark shadow moving across the sky at the exact moment the sun was completely covered. It might only have been a rare natural event, but it might also be something that makes many people think again. Because when darkness suddenly falls in the middle of the day, what worries people is not only the loss of sunlight. What may be more unsettling is the feeling that the sky might be trying to tell us something, and Arlington may have simply been the first place where that sign appeared. 6. A fireball shooting across the sky in South New Mexico. A quiet sunrise was suddenly torn apart by a giant streak of fire racing across the sky. People looking toward the horizon in South New Mexico were almost frozen in shock as a blazing light cut across the desert sky. In just a few short seconds, the scene turned an ordinary sunrise into something that made everyone who saw it wonder, what just happened above our heads? South New Mexico is known for its wide desert land, where low mountain ranges stretch one after another and the population is sparse. Sunrise here is usually calm, with the first light of day slowly spreading over the dry hills. But on that morning, the sky suddenly burst into a bright streak of light, stretching nearly 1 mile long, rushing behind the mountains at a speed so fast the human eye could barely follow it. The fiery streak burned like a giant shooting star, leaving behind a red-orange trail of smoke hanging in the sky that was slowly turning into the blue color of morning. Only a few seconds after the light disappeared beyond the horizon, a high-speed aircraft suddenly appeared from the left side of the frame, racing in the same direction as if chasing the fading trail. The moment happened so quickly, but it was enough to make us hold our breath. In the Bible, unusual lights in the sky are often mentioned as signs that call people to pay attention. Matthew 24:27 says, "For as lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man." The image of a sudden flash tearing across the sky has long reminded many people of these powerful words. The video capturing the event quickly spread across social media. Many people believe it was simply a meteor burning brightly as it entered Earth's atmosphere, something that does happen from time to time. Some astronomy observers also mentioned the possibility that it could have been space debris falling back to Earth, creating a large, fiery trail as it rubbed against the air. However, what left many people puzzled was the aircraft that appeared right after. The timing, direction of flight, and distance seemed strangely aligned, leading some to wonder if it was really just a coincidence. Some have suggested the aircraft might have been carrying out a mission to track an unidentified flying object, but so far, no official explanation has been given. Isaiah 30:26 speaks about bright light in a very special setting. The moon will shine like the sun, and the sunlight will be 7 times brighter, like the light of 7 full days. When the Lord binds up the wounds of his people and heals the injuries he has inflicted, images of powerful light in the sky often remind many people of promises and signs spoken about long ago. Another passage in Revelation 8-5 also speaks about dramatic events coming from the heavens. Then the angel took the censer, filled it with fire from the altar, and threw it on the earth. And there came peals of thunder, rumblings, flashes of lightning, and an earthquake. Images of fire coming down from the sky in these ancient passages lead many to feel that the heavens are sometimes